few years, I think many years ago, I was giving a Dhamma talk in Johor Bahru in Metta Lodge, the old Metta Lodge. Something to do with faith, something to do with Saddha. So during the talk, I was mentioning that this type of serenity faith, they are not as deep or as strong as the type of that comes with mental development. But after the Dhamma talk, a devotee was disagree with me. Okay, the devotee disagreed with me, and he mentioned that he says that I was born a Buddhist. I was born a Buddhist, and over the years, I have been a staunch Buddhist. Right now, at 60 over years old, I'm still a Buddhist. And my forefathers and my ancestors are all Buddhist. I don't think that my Saddha will be weak. I don't think that my faith is very weak, and I think that my faith is very firm, very strong. Well, because that the devotee, and he's a Sri Lankan, compared to us, perhaps our forefathers, these are all not Buddhists, and they are Buddhists for many generations. So they think that the faith is strong in that sense. And when that happened, I also, of course, I re-mentioning again that this type of faith, this type of serenity faith, they are not as strong as the mentally type of faith. I mentioned to him again. But nowadays, I'm thinking also, of course, I'm still at the same level. It says that, well, you may think that your faith, the type of serenity type of faith, that the everyday type of faith, you think that you may have you're born Buddhist, your parents are Buddhist, your grandparents are Buddhist, your ancestors are all Buddhist. You thought that this one is still strong. I mean, comparatively to many people, it is very strong. If you want to see the nature of how faith it's being expressed out in our speech and behavior and thinking, you have to go to a Buddhist country. And you really see that the beauty of how faith is being in their character. You can see that sometimes when we go for Pindabat in the morning, we go from Pindabat in the morning and we go for, you can see that whether they are rain or shine, they will offer. I mean, old ladies, you can see that how the way they talk, is very cultured, and a Buddhistly cultured way of talking. And then also their actions, their behavior, how they sit, how they stand, and so on. When there are monks or when there's objects of faith around, we don't see that much when we do not have this cultural upbringing, or when our environment is not that strong. We perhaps may be strong in the faith, but the environment may not have those things. But in a Buddhist country, the children has been taught in that way. So it's good that sometimes we go back to the Buddhist countries, current Buddhist countries, and you can see that the expression of the faith, very powerful, very strong. And then as a monk, you feel very touched by their generosity, hospitality, and so on. The beauty of faith is being expressed out. But still, it is not as strong as a mentally developed type of faith. You may think that you may not able to change religion. You are definitely you're going to die as a Buddhist. That's what way you think. You may not change. Perhaps you won't change at all. But doesn't mean that other things will not sway you away from the right path. Not in the name of religion, but in other things that you may attach to. Now, what are the things that you attach to, or you may attach to? We may attach to our families, friends, business, attached to our life, our health, and so on. Now take, for example, when health situation. Sometimes people say that they are Buddhists, they are strong, they come to the temple, and then when the time comes to they are dying. And when they are dying, when they are desperate in that sense, they want to live, and because of that, sometimes the other form of religion may come in, and they will provoke you, and they will put a fear into you, or give you happiness, or give you support in that sense. And then you felt kind of like touched. And then after that, you give up on Buddhism, and then you die as another form of religion. Perhaps that is quite an obvious thing. We've seen these things many times, or heard many times. Or out of desperation of your family, sometimes you are provoked by your family to change your beliefs and understanding. That too also I've seen. I've seen people who came in to meditate and so on. But of course, if they have not gone deep. And then after that, because the children is Christian or some other religion, and then they change it to this one in order to make the family happy. This one is perhaps other religion. You may see it quite clear. But sometimes changing of faith may not be connected to other form of religion. It is connected to perhaps to your career and your money and your financial things. Like for example, I've many friends when I was young, very staunch in Buddhism. Take the 3 refuges, 5 precepts, dana, katina, vesate, anytime, sometimes they are help, service that we will go and do, with friends. But then over the years, they are not keen in all these things anymore. Why they are not keen in these things? Because there are more things which is more priority, more important than just this Buddhism or this faith in Buddhism. Once they want to build up their career or build up a business, then you begin to sway. You begin to sway your beliefs, begin to sway your faith into all your career and all the, you want to generate more money. And then while you are generating more money, you may not care about the 5 precepts anymore. You kind of like, you forget about your 5 precepts. You sort of like, if you want to have a business, you want to drink with them, Those days you say that, drinking is no good, and then you give rise, and you break the 5 precepts and so on. Nowadays you say, never mind, it's just for business and so on. Then when it comes to times when you are desperate, or a person is desperate to build up something, and then they may lie, they may cheat. They forget about the principle of the Dhamma. But if you put your career in the sense that you want to support the family and everything, but along the way we break all the precepts, or they don't care about precepts anymore after all. Those days, yes, in the young time they care, but after a while, they may not care anymore. Yeah. So you may not sway by that, you may sway by other, not by religion, but other forms that you are attached to. Yeah? Sometimes we've seen people take a lot of addiction to smoking, addiction to drinking, and so on. Yeah? So these type of things is what I meant. Yeah? Sometimes, in a sense, when they are sick, they may not change the other religion, but they become very obsessive of the health, and then becomes do all kinds of wrong things in order to make them healthy again. So that is what I meant when it comes to serenity type of faith. When you are in a desperate situation, your confidence, your faith in the path of Buddhism will be tested, and then you will see how fragile it is. Until one comes into unshakable faith, one comes into unshakable faith, then that unshakable faith will always be the priority. And then, of course, when you come to unshakable faith, there's Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and the triple training, which is the Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, will be the forefront in your lives. Other than that, then you'll be shaky. Those people who practice deeper into the meditation, then their faith becomes stronger. But does not mean that it cannot be swayed. Yeah. Nowadays, there are, if you have that serenity type of faith and you think that your faith is strong, there are motivational speakers, there are great speakers, they can able to sway you, they motivate you into doing other things. Then you believe that those things are good. You believe that those things are wonderful. They can sway you in many ways because of when the faith is not grounded with true understanding, true development, then these type of people, they can sway your faith away from Buddhism. It's not that you're totally, as I said, you're not totally completely forgot about Buddhism. Yeah? It's just that this is not your priority anymore. Your priority is whatever the speaker or whatever they guide you in whatever worldly ways, to gain more money, to gain to make you into share market, whatever it is. They can motivate you into that thing. So that we have to be careful with this type of serenity faith. They are not strong, but of course, if you still need to balance it with your wisdom, that means with your studies and so on, at least it gets better. But still, in a sense, they are fragile. In a sense, they're fragile. Even though, for example, like not only in this life, but in the coming lives, in the future lives now, if you're not grounded in strong Buddhism, then when, let's say, because you do a lot of good deeds over here, and you're reborn in the Deva planes of existence, that is where also it will test you. Because in the Deva planes, due to the happiness of the senses, your senses are always in the state of happiness, you don't have to work, there's no disease, and so on, then there's always play and always happiness. And then, why want you go back to suffering? Why you want to understand all this Four Noble Truth of suffering and so on? Just enjoy. Because of the serenity, faith is not that strong. But if you have more grounded type of faith, then even if you goes into a Deva world, then you are not so attached to the sensual desire of that place. That sensual desire in the heavenly worlds is even more refined than what we are having right now. There's no sex, there's no all this intimacy. They don't have to have that. Their senses is so much more refined than our body and our mind and all our external senses. They're much more refined, so they don't need all these things. So they are always in the state of happiness. Deva land. So you see that how much can you able to ground yourself in the Dhamma. So sometimes you ask me in the question and answer, next time can meet with the Dhamma again. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, let's talk another one. Let's go to a sharing of screen again. Now, so this is the Pakati Saddha, or the serene type, or the ordinary type of faith. Now, let's go into Okappana Saddha. I mentioned about it a little bit, the last talk on Monday, but today I'm going to stretch it out a little bit more. Hey, can you all see this? Can you all see? Can I? All right. Okay. Okay, Okappana Saddha, or trusting or experiential type of faith. All right. Now here we're going to look at it as a faculty and as a power of Saddha already. Whereas, as I said some time back, I think about last week, I mentioned that when you're the type of serenity type of faith, one level down, that this is not faculty yet. This is not a faculty, this is not a power yet, because they haven't come into the development type of faith. Only when you start comes into the faculty or power, when you start begin your vipassana meditation. Especially when you begin to start your vipassana meditation, because in the vipassana meditation, it is direct towards enlightenment. It direct towards enlightenment. Then it becomes a faculty and power. Now, if you practice samatha meditation for the purpose of enlightenment, then also it falls under faculty and power too. It also falls under faculty of power if it's concerned with enlightenment. If your samatha meditation, you don't want enlightenment, or you do not know what is enlightenment, just like when before the time of the Buddha, when there's no enlightenment yet, then there's not falls under faculty or power. Even though they have jhanas and they have psychic power, So as I said, this one, if you falls under the 37 factors of enlightenment, that means the goal is for enlightenment. So this, when it falls under that, to draw the line where this faculty and power starts, it starts with your first insight knowledge. Knowledge of discerning of mind and matter. Nama, Rupa, Paricheda, Jnana. The first knowledge of insight. Now, this knowledge of insight is a matter of you practice only. It's a matter of practice. It's not difficult to attain. I think so. For a lot of people, it's not difficult to attain as long as you make the effort into it, and you can able to achieve at least the first stage. Once you achieve the first stage, now that is where that faith, it becomes strong. It becomes strong. It becomes stronger compared to before you have this one. Before you have the first stage, before you have the first insight, before your insight, then that one still an ordinary type of saddha. Ordinary type of saddha. So here it's the cut-off point. But of course, when you're actually practicing, you don't feel the cut-off and so on. It's just a gradual development. It's more like a gradual development as you keep on more practicing and more practicing. Your saddha and all other faculties are actually growing. It's just that you do not know how much they are growing, but somehow or another, your object or your experience of your meditation become clearer. You can able to notice more things, which is what this is something like that. But you do not know how much are they growing and so on. So this one, you will go all the way up to the just before enlightenment. The deeper the insight knowledge, the better the faith. But now when it comes to the faith here, it comes more like a confidence and the clarity of your observation. It comes as a clarity of your observation on the object of your meditation. You see, in the beginning, when you want to practice this, especially Vipassana meditation, then, for example, like pain, a difficult object. Pain, it grows and it makes your mind after that become muddled and so on. And you cannot able to sit for long, you start to fidget, your mind starts to become restless, and sometimes the aversion, the dislike will start coming in regards to the unpleasant feelings in the beginning part. In other words, your mind is muddled, your mind is foggy. Your mind is also sometimes doubtful that whenever the pain comes in, you'll start doubting yourself whether you can able to sit, whether you can able to penetrate, whether you can able to notice how the pain is reacting or the pain is doing right now. What is going on with the pain? So in the beginning part, it's difficult. When you deal with this type of difficult objects, the whole mind become muddy, foggy in that sense. So it's where the mindfulness and the noting mind, and it starts to note and note and note, and then you begins to get into the deeper aspect of meditation. Then later when it comes in a deeper aspect of meditation, it's where you can able to notice the pain for a longer period of time. Rather than you just have a aversion towards it, you want to get out of it and so on. But this time the mind does not have these things. It's just only the mind, the noting mind and the object, and the noting mind and the observation of the pain become very clear. At least it is clear for a period of time now. But the pain will grow and grow and grow until you cannot take it anymore. But when you can still able to take it hard, that is where your mind is not foggy. Your mind is clear about the object, how the pain is growing in this way, that way, and so on. And sometimes, just like on Friday, there's a question regarding noting the pain, and then the joy also comes in. That also may come in because in this time, because you can able to notice the nature of the pain, then the joy may come in, not connected with the pain on the body, but this time is the mental type of joy. It comes in, and you notice the nature of the pain with the clarity, with clarity. That means that time the faith is strong in you. The faith is strong and it's balanced, and that is important. And it's strong and it's balanced. So this is what I meant from muddiness, from fogginess, and then you can go into more clarity. So this is where the faith takes into a different form, not like serenity type of faith. Serenity type of faith is that you have a belief in sometimes the object, the action, but this time is more towards the object of your meditation. So the development of all this faculty and power of saddha, and also all other faculties, is that the higher the knowledge that you go, the deeper the knowledge, the insight knowledge that you go, then just before enlightenment, all of this is called Okappana saddha, or Bhavana saddha. It's a trusting type of faith. So it's quite a long part of it. Now, on Monday also, I also mentioned that as you begin to develop your meditation, as you progress in your meditation, because of that, faith becomes strong and becomes clear, and therefore you will know how to come back and carry on with the practice. We as a teacher don't have to encourage you anymore. That time you are self-encouraged already. You know how to plan your time. You know when to look for a retreat. You know who to look for. You know which center for you to go, and how much time you want to put into it. This is like it was. Because of that faith, it will keep you rolling. It will keep you rolling on and on and on. Just like, let me go up a little bit now. Just like here. The function here, to set forth, to go forth, to go forward, and to keep on going and going and going and going and going. To set forth. And this is what I mentioned. To have that clarity is just now earlier on I mentioned that your object becomes clear to you. The pain becomes clear to you. You can able to notice the pain. Not as something that you cannot able to notice the true nature of the pain or the true nature of the unpleasant feelings. So here. Now, all right. So here, because of your progress, and then when the progress comes, your faith gets stronger, you come to meditate again, you progress, you go back, and then you plan to come back, and you keep on rolling until enlightenment takes place. And after that, you will keep going, with the practice. So in between, there will be what we call the vipassana upakilesa will come in. All yogis will have to go through that. So they said this vipassana upakilesa is only for those who are, I think last week, did I mention it last week or the week before that? I mentioned it also in the Q&A. I said this vipassana upakilesa comes in for those people who are meditating in vipassana, obviously. You will not come in for enlightened ones. You will not come in for those who don't meditate or those who are lazy. You will not come in for them, because this is part and parcel of the development of vipassana. But the thing is that all yogis must be careful. You have to be careful with this vipassana upakilesa, the imperfection of insight, or the corruption of insight. So one has to beware of this over faith and confidence during meditation. And if you are not careful, if you are unknowingly, unmindfully, it will turn into serenity type of faith. Then that's why on Monday, I mentioned that I gave you the example, if that people, there are yogis who are meditate, they can able to progress quite far. They can see things like this rising and falling becomes like dotted, or they can see step, and in the rising and falling, they can see the pain breaking here, breaking there, it come again, then it gets stronger, and then it disappears, and then you go with another pain. Wow, the meditation is in a way interesting and enjoyable right now. It's the whole mind is like able to notice this thing. Then this time also, the noting mind, you place the noting mind in any object, whether it's the mental object, whether it's rising, falling, whether it's in breath, out breath, whether it's the physical pain or tension, and anything can be noted very clearly. Anything you noted, you can able to show the true nature of that characteristic. You begin to become happy, and you begin to felt the meditation become quite enjoyable. Mentally, you're not suffering anymore. Mentally, you're not suffering, but the physical, there may be pain and strong sensation there. You can take it, and it's interesting. You could take it, and you can notice it, and you can sit there even an hour of pain. Very easy, and you felt that the confidence in the meditation has improved. Because in the past, in the beginning, you do not have, you're not able to see these things. You're not able to see these things, but this time, this one is good. Now, this type of vipassana upakilesa, especially around, it gets the strongest, it gets the strongest. It doesn't mean that other time don't have, but it gets the peak at the third insight and just before the fourth insight, or the tender phase of the fourth insight. This is where the peak of vipassana upakilesa will take place. For some people, as I said last week, there's the vipassana upakilesa, they got 10 things. Now, you may not, a yogi may not experience all of them at one go. Some yogis experience some of it, some yogis experience another type of it. It also depends on your character and your inclination. Depending on the character, on your inclination. Now, if your natural character is inclined into faith type, in a faith type, that means that object, temples, monks, or Dharma books, or whatever, object of faith, tangible object of faith, that you kind of feel very happy, you feel very connected to them because of your inclination. And your inclination is also depend on your past karma, that it ripens in the present. Then you are kind of like a faith-orientated type of devotee. It's perfectly all right. It's perfectly all right. But this is where your upakilesa, one of the upakilesa will be strong in this type of person, is the over type of faith will start coming. And last week also I mentioned that when there is a saddha and adhimukha, when both comes together, adhimukha means like determination or resolution, a strong resolution. And together with that clarity of the mind, when they mix together here, it makes your noting mind very clear. But the thing is that sometimes the yogi have this faith-based type of mentality or inclination. Sometimes they stop their meditation and they begin to go and thank the Buddha. They go in front of the Buddha, and then they express their gratitude to the Dhamma, to the Buddha, to the Sangha, and their gratitude to all the past teachers has taught them, and so on. So they begin to go out of the meditation, and they do in that sense. Some people, because of their meditation, they feel good, and then they want to start to do chanting. And as I said, in the ordinary eyes, you may think that this is perfectly all right. After all, they are all just wholesome things. After all, the expressing your thanks and gratitude also something wholesome. And also the meditation also is wholesome. But for those who are more discerning eyes, more discerning, then you see that this is an imbalance of faculties already. There's an imbalance of faculties, in the sense that the imbalance here is not the sense that more or less, but what is suitable and what is not suitable. You begin to bring that meditation type of confidence, you sort of drop it, and then you bring it over just on the serenity type of faith, and you want to express your joy and express your gratitude and so on. Then you bring down that thing. So because of that, it is called imperfection, and also that imperfection also is imbalance of the faculties. There's also a kind of imbalance of the faculty. So one must be careful. Because the urge for some yogis, the urge to do these things is very strong. And you want to stop your meditation to do some other things. Some people like some yogis, they not only in front of the Buddha, but because of the teacher is very helpful and guide them. And then while they're meditating, they felt that, oh, they can able to notice this thing. In the past, they cannot notice this. Then after that, while they're meditating, then they start thinking, hey, the teacher be what does the teacher like? Maybe I should go and cook what the teacher like, and then they start preparing the menu already, and also the recipe already inside there. And then, although it's still a wholesome mind, as I said, it's still a wholesome mind, but forget that this is not this is not the area for you to pay attention to. Now because for some yogis, you may not go in front of the Buddha, because that is, you break your meditation meditation sitting, perhaps, But this time, you are not breaking the meditation sitting while you're sitting, but you twist it, you kind of like push your mind, kind of go into another state of mind. Now is the thinking about the object of faith. And this time the object of faith here is the monk. And then because of your inclination of it, of your faith inclination of it, you want to give him or you want to give her the best things that you think that to your best ability. And if perhaps your best of your ability is cooking, then you'll be thinking of cooking. You see what I mean? This is how the inclination of the mind will you find a loophole, you find a lubang only, you find a hole only, you want to go inside there already. So you just have to be careful. Now here is where the mindfulness comes in. The mindfulness and the wisdom factor, you will come in to detect and to notice that how the mind is going, how the noting mind is dropping off, and how it's going to go into another intention of doing this or doing that, whether intention getting up to pay the respect to the Buddha or the teachers, or the intention of going into planning and so on. So this is where the mindfulness and wisdom factor will take note of this happening. You're able to discern which one is the right objects for you to keep on noticing and what is not the suitable one. This time it's not like wholesome and unwholesome. This one is like wholesome and what is more wholesome, what is suitable and what is less suitable, what is not suitable in that sense. So this one, it takes your mindfulness and your wisdom factors to be sharp. So your wisdom factor is the one who discern, hey, this is right and this is wrong. But your mindfulness is the one who keep the mind in the present, to know that these things is happening right now, in order for the wisdom to discern these things, to discern that which one the right path for you to go, to carry forward. So this one is where the balancing of faith and wisdom is taking place in that sense. The balancing is taking place in that way. A lot of times we do not see, a lot of meditators, they do not see this type of balancing is taking place. Sometimes they already report, I already know what is going on with the yogi. Usually we don't go and explain to them so much, because we don't have time, and sometimes the interview, you don't have so much time to go and explain in so many ways. But during the Dhamma talk, we can give you a little bit more explanation to understand your own form of meditation, your meditation a little bit more. So this is how your wisdom and your mindfulness comes in to know and see the suitability of faith here. Now, also, as you go into the deeper aspect of the meditation, hold on. Now, as you go into this type of experiential faith or empirical type of faith where you have to directly observe what is going on with your meditation object, especially in Vipassana. In Vipassana, there are, as you go into the practice, the objects, the meditation objects, the Vipassana objects, they were going to behave or they're going to show you characteristics that that is unthinkable or very unusual to you. You do not know what is going on now, but you're still able to know what is going on, but theoretically you do not know what is going on. Theoretically or intellectually you do not know, because this is unthinkable. Only when you go into the deeper aspect of your meditation, you think that just this rising and falling or just simple in-breath and out-breath, what is there to understand? What's so big deal about it? If you are not a meditator, you don't. This is how, there's no big deal about it. This is so simple. It's just in and out, rise and fall on it. But it's exactly this non-understanding and non-penetrating that you have not seen the deeper aspect, how this rising, falling, or in-breath, out-breath, or how the mind works, or how the other form of objects are working and their true nature is coming up as your noting mind becomes clearer. So a lot of times that the meditation objects will behave very unusual, but you can still see it very clearly. For example, I talk about these things about during when we talk about the skeptical doubt, because that skeptical doubt and faith is just opposite of each other. The nature of faith, the power of faith is to stop the skeptical doubt. So they are very connected. So therefore, it is important for me to bring it up again. Important for me to bring it up again because of the unusual and the unthinkable characteristic of a meditation object. So sometimes, take for example, an easy one, unusual one. Then sometimes when you meditate, then you notice that how come the rising and falling is going sideways, going left and right, Hey, how could the rising, falling go left and right? And then you open up and look at your stomach. Hey, still go up and down, but when I close my eyes, how come it go left and right? Is it something wrong with me? Then after that you go into interview room. I say, Bante, I see meditation, something wrong, my meditation. Rising, falling is going sideways already. Bante, how? Not concerned, they become doubtful. Or sometimes another type of unusual one, that also sometimes the yogis, they report. How come they notice the rising and falling? And then the rising and falling starts to turn and twist. It's like you take up your laundry and then you use your two arms or two hands and then you try to twist. One twist to the front, one twist to the back. As if like you're twisting this one. It's twisting something like that. How could the rising and falling be like this? And then usually I know they are doing it right but sometimes I'm a little bit cheeky also. I say, are you sure or not? Are you sure or not? Are you sure your rising and falling is turning this one? Then I say, then they become doubtful already. So sometimes if they are doubtful, I say, you go and meditate as this. You make sure that your mind, you make sure that you don't think too much about it. You just make sure that you pay attention to it. You pay attention to it. If it go round and round, next interview you come and let me know again. Then next interview, it happened to see that again. Bante, sure, correct one. Because this time, I make sure that I don't have, I keep all my mind and I just notice it. Actually, it go round and round like that. Then correct lah, you know. This is to make sure that the yogi is to know and to, I mean just to make sure that they meditate it clearly lah. And actually those things, as I said, these are the simple unusualness of how objects will behave. So if there's no teacher, if there's no competent teacher to tell you and all these things, or you just meditate yourself, let's say, and then when these things happen, you may start to have a lot of skeptical doubt about your meditation. Whether you're doing it right or wrong, how come rising, falling can go in this way, or even sometimes in breath, out breath also can be the same. You know, how come the breath only come out one side only? How come the other side don't come out? When I put my finger there, I can feel two sides, but only I can notice one side very clearly. How? It's the same thing. Or when the in breath, out breath, how come they are different? How come one go in and the other side come out one? Hey, how come like that one? Then you put your finger again. Both come out the same. I can feel the same thing. But when I notice it, how come one is as if go in, one and come out like that? So there are all kinds of unusualness of the practice. Yeah. But in the deeper aspect of it, of the experience, the unusualness is that sometimes the object run from one object to another object. Like you can able to take note of an object. Let's say you're noting of a pain and a lot of changing in the pain, but the moment you just notice 2 or 3 seconds in that particular spot, then you're already changing to another spot, like maybe to another part of your body which is pulling tension, and then you notice it a few seconds and you notice it very clearly. Not to say that you don't notice, but you notice it very clearly. But again, after that, it changed to another spot, another type of maybe this time some thoughts passing through. Then you notice the thoughts passing through very clearly. Then after that, you notice the hearing very clearly, and you notice that, and after that, you notice the rising, falling very clearly. You know, but every time you move around here and there, it just happened on its own. And every time it landed on an object, it only reached there for a few seconds or 5 seconds or 10 seconds after it moves again. And then it repeats itself again and again and again and again and again and again and again in this way. Then, because of that experience that you go through, you compare it with your past experiences. You compare it with your past experiences. Last time when I meditate in the beginning part, I can only notice this rising and falling for some time. I can notice it. It doesn't run here, run there. When I notice the pain, when the rising, falling not there already, I notice the pain. The pain is there. It's there, and I can notice what is going on. And then perhaps the pain disappear. Then only this thing happening. But this time, something very unusual. How come the object is keep on running here and there? And even that time, right now also, I do not know what object I'm noting. I do not know whether this is pain, or whether this is rising, falling, or whether this is thoughts. All I know is that the mind is just noting on it. So sometimes the yogi again here, they become doubtful about whether the meditation is correct or not. How come in the past I meditate in such a smooth manner, but now the meditation is not smooth at all? How come the meditation, this experience is so random? The objects are so random, and many objects, and does not stay, and so on. So this time, this is where, as I said, you got to put your trust, you got to place your trust in that mindfulness and the noting mind, and not your intelligence, and not your your so-called reflection and so-called your book knowledge at that time. You got to put them aside. If you don't put them aside, you will not trust your noting mind. You will not trust your mindfulness that is happening right in front of you. This is a critical, sometimes this is a very critical juncture that a number of yogis that I've seen during the interview is where they somehow or another get stuck here and there. This type of, they are progressive yogi. They are progressive yogi. They are not beginners yogi. You can say that they have been advanced in a certain level, and they have come to a number of retreats. And this type of people also may spend about 2-3 months in a retreat, or 1 year in the retreat, or a long period of time in the retreat. And when they reach into this part, it is where they get somewhat uneasy about their meditation object. So this time is your confidence, your full confidence, you're unhindered by your thinking and by your intelligence, by your all these things. You got to put it aside. Your job right now is to make sure that you pay attention and keep on discerning what is in front of you, however that is appearing to you. This is some message. This is one of the important messages I need to impart to all of you. Because if you don't go through this one, the skeptical doubt will keep on blocking you. Well, the skeptical doubt will keep on blocking you, and you want to go back to the comfort zone, to what you think you know, rather than the growth part of it, that you have to really pay attention to what is going on, even you see it as very unusual. You see what I mean? So this is important for us to take note. This is important for us to take note, because it will happen to all yogis as they begin to progress into the deeper aspect of vipassana meditation. So now your trust is in the noting mind, is in the mindfulness. Then your progress will keep going and going and going. So now as you go into the deeper aspect of it, your faculty, your saddha will become stronger. And then when you're able to notice all this unusual behavior or unusual characteristics of the object is appearing in front of you, next time in the future, because you have done it, then next time, however the unusualness of the character that comes in, then you take note of it very clearly. And that time, that skeptical doubt doesn't come in so much anymore. Whether you should note it or not note it, anything come in, you also know how to note already. You don't have that skeptical doubt about all these things. Not only that, as you progress deeper into it, especially there's a progress is taking place in the yogis, then also another type of skeptical doubt that is going to come in, especially when you want to think of, hey, should I go and practice other form of meditation or not? Should I go and practice other form of meditation? Should I go and try this, try that or not? That time when you progress, your doubt is all put aside, because your power of your saddha is strong due to the nature of progressive nature of your meditation. If you don't progress, that is where after meditate some vipassana, maybe I should go and try chittanupassana, or maybe I should go and try other form of meditation or other teacher type of meditation, or maybe I should go and go and try this a little bit, try that 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 a little bit. You weren't able to develop. After all, Usually, when the yogi can able to progress, they don't think of other form of meditation because that one is already can jalan already, can move already. What for you want to go and look for other thing? Usually, it's just because the progress is not happening. Yogis have a lot of difficulty. Sometimes yogi, they thought that they are smart enough. Sometimes some devotees, they thought that they're smart enough. They think that, hey, all these are also Buddhist meditation. After all, we must, after all, the richness of the Buddhist meditation, we must go and try this, try that, try this, try that. Then only we can see what is good for us. What is good for us, and then we stick to that particular one. I mean, it sounds nice, it sounds nice. It sounds nice, but honestly, it's not practical. It sounds nice, but it's not practical. Now, each one you want to go and taste it, it will take you some time. After you taste this one a little bit, take you some time. After that, now you want to taste everything. 20 years pass already. By the time 20 years pass, okay, I found the right one already. Now, you're already old already. When you're already old, you want to put in the effort, and that time already you want to walk also difficult. Sometimes when you go to a meditation centers, not every meditation centers are all very smooth and very nice for you. A lot of meditation centers, you have to climb the hill, you have to climb the steps, you have to climb the gradient. It's difficult, you have to bear up with the heat, you have to sleep on the floor, at least a little bit cushion, no much of luxury. And as you grow older, all this luxury is sometimes important for you, because old age already, your bones cannot take all these things. Well, that's it. We don't have much time. We don't have much time. We think that we have much time. We always think that we have much time. We want to taste this, taste that, taste everything. You want to go to Burma and meditate. You want to go to Thailand and meditate. You want to go this and that. Yeah, because they think, sometimes some people think a lot. It's hard to convince. Sometimes it's hard to convince people, what to meditate, how to meditate, because there's a range of meditation. It's just like, sometimes I look at myself, it's like, you go to a shopping mall or you go to a supermarket, you got so many yogurt, all right? Then there's a lady going to tell you, this yogurt is better than all the yogurt, and then they let you taste that you this one and all that. Sometimes I feel like that also, sometimes something is like this. It's not easy to convince people when we have a lack of understanding or lack of faith in the meditation. So as you grow deeper, there's a bit the skeptical doubt become less. That other word, that the power, the power of saddha balan, it becomes much more stronger, that all these impurities, it will not come in. That means the skeptical doubt, one of the things is that the skeptical doubt will not come in, or it come in much less than before. The second thing about the deeper aspect of meditation is that as you penetrate into it, is that any form of object, you can take it up with confidence. You're not afraid of the pain. You're not afraid of the mind. You're not afraid of the desire. You're not afraid of the anger. You're not afraid of the restless mind. Because every of the object, you know how to take note of them. You have the skill and you have the confidence to take note of them. You see, all the past talks, like for example, in the talks of hindrances, I taught how to pay attention to those things, how to take note, how to watch the object in this way, that way, in indirect way, direct way, samatha way, this way, that way. Why is that so? Because to impart the confidence in you that once you know how to do it, then in the future, all this difficult type of meditation object, you dare to take note of them. You dare to take note of them, you are aware of them clearly, you can see their impermanence nature, then you can able to progress, and then those hindrances does not become a strong hindrance anymore, or they may not be there anymore. And it is important for you to have that confidence to take up any of the object. So don't underestimate. Sometimes some yogis, they don't like to hear all these hindrances because they can't take it up. Difficult because they don't have the skills. So my job is to impart the skills here so that all these things, you may not think of it that is important. Because if you don't meditate, of course, these things is not important. But if you are meditating, if you want to really get enlightenment, then these are the things that is going to be important. Because if you do not have confidence on all these objects, your skeptical doubt, all these things will become a big block to you. So the skill of handling all these things, you know what to do when you're sleepy, you know how to get up and walk, or you have to take note of the sleepiness, for example, these type of things, you have ways to encounter them, then it helps to clear away all these hindrances and to make you go further and further into the development. So that is important. And also, the last thing before we talk about this, that trust in the meditation teachers. I put here depends. Actually, I got some more things to talk. I got things here to talk, but I think we can talk about it next week already. But here, the last thing before we go is the meditation teachers. Should you put all your trust of your meditation progress in the meditation teacher or teachers? That is a very difficult for me to answer. Because teachers here, they are human and they are imperfect. All of us are imperfect. And honestly speaking, in the reality, not all meditation teachers really meditate. Make these things clear to you. Not every meditation teachers meditate. If let's say another thing, if all meditation teachers meditate, does not mean they have gone into a deeper aspect of practice. Another thing is that they may not be enlightened after all. Not all meditation teachers are enlightened. Sometimes some devotees may think that every meditation teacher must be enlightened already. Because they walk this way, they are there. We thought of that. We thought of that. Kind of like we put them on the pedestal. Whatever they say must be right. Well, now here there's a number of things that if next time we're going to look for meditation teachers, we will look for meditation teachers. Then usually it's better to go to a proper meditation center, where you have the practice in the type of meditation that you want to do. If let's say you want to practice Mahasi, and you have to go to a proper Mahasi meditation center to develop the meditation. If you want to practice Samatha meditation, you don't go to a Mahasi center, you go to a proper Samatha meditation center to want to develop the Samatha meditation. If you are a beginner, usually most of the time, the meditation teachers are okay, are right. If you're a beginner, mostly they are okay. Not a problem. Then that time you should trust the meditation teacher if you're a beginner. Okay? You should put your confidence into them. That means you should put the drink, they tell you to walk this way, you walk this way. You're going to walk this way, you walk. Sit, walk, eat. You will follow their program and everything. Yeah? If you're stubborn, of course, you're not going to be able to go further. Sometimes we have our own ideas, and a lot of times our own ideas may be wrong. So we got to put the trust in the teacher, especially when you are in the beginning of the practice. Okay? That is important. Now, when you go into a more advanced level, that depends here or start coming in. Sometimes you may be a meditator of a certain tradition. Let's say if you're in the Mahasi tradition, then you also like to go into the different meditation center, which is going along that particular lineage. Some people, if a Pa'aut lineage, they want to go along that Pa'aut lineage, which is understandable. And also it's good in a certain sense, because you want to develop that your particular form of your meditation, you want to develop it well. Good. So you go on in a certain lineage, but different meditation centers. Then you go to different meditation centers. That is where meditation teachers, you have to depend. You have to, this time, because of you and able to meditate, when you're able to meditate, you keep on noting. You keep on noting, you keep on paying attention. There will be times that you come across certain problem. You come across a certain problem, and your meditation teachers may not able to give you a right answer, or you may tell you to do other things altogether, Sometimes, as I said, some people, earlier on when I talk about, yogis able to experience the in-breath, out-breath in this way, that way, rising, falling, going sideways, and so on. When you experience those things, then the teacher will say that, hey, this is all wrong, this is all wrong. But then when you go back to sitting again, these things keep on coming. But the thing is that right now, your skeptical doubt is going to go absolutely very strong right now. Now, the teacher says that I'm wrong, but right now when I sit down, it is as bright as the sun. How could it be wrong? This time you know that you are not unmindful. Your mind is totally clear. Your mind is totally this one. Then this is where you have to trust your meditation object. You got to trust your meditation object. That's where your mindfulness has to come in. But the problem is that inside the meditation, sometimes the vipassana upakilesa come in. Then you thought that one is good. If you don't ask teacher, then you thought that one is good. Then you're going to attach to that one, also another problem. You see, it gets very, sometimes it gets very muddled here. So that's why, as I said, you got to be sure about your mindfulness. Your mindfulness, when the mindfulness is there, it cuts across everything. When the mindfulness is there, it knows that whether you are taking up the right object or the wrong object, whether this is vipassana upakilesa or whether you are still in the right path, or whether you are observing it clearly or actually you're observing wrongly, or whether somebody tell you whether it's right or wrong, rather than, now you can able to see it as right or wrong. So it gets very muddled over here. And this is something in the reality I've mentioned. Of course, ideally, if you can find an enlightened teacher to meditate, then wholesale, that would be excellent. Then that would be perfect. He knows or she knows all the path towards enlightenment, where you get stuck and where is it not, and here and there. That'll be perfect. But more often than not, it's not easy to find one. So if you're not able to find one, make sure that you know what is mindfulness. You know what is the practice. You know how to pay attention to your object. All right. So this is on the Okappana Saddha. the Okapana Sada. And next week, we will talk about this Sada a little bit more. We go in the Adhikama Sada. We talk about enlightenment. We talk about how when your inclination of enlightenment, how you're going to see the enlightenment as it is. And how this type of unshakable faith arises and so on. Some not too much to talk, but a little bit quite interesting actually. So all right, we'll stop here for tonight. And on Friday again, we have this Q&A session. Okay, we have a Q&A session. You can ask your questions to there on the chat there. The phone number is there. You send your question to this one regarding about the Dhamma talk or things on Dhamma. Okay, we'll share merits right now.